CBC News has learned a Winnipeg rabbi has been hiding from police since October after being charged with multiple sex offenses.
It's a sex abuse scandal that took months to go public.
A warrant was issued for 42-year-old Yacov Simmonds in October of 2017. Police say there are 3 complainants.
But the allegations against Rabbi Simmonds were already known in the Orthodox Jewish community. In 2016, Simmonds was fired from his job at the Chabad-Lubavitch organization, a sect of the Hasidic movement, after allegations first surfaced.
The center concluded an agreement to terminate Rabbi Simmonds' employment.
The organization says the alleged incidents occurred before he started working there. It then took more than a year for police to press charges, which included sexual interference or touching a child under the age of 16.
Winnipeg police say Simmonds has been on the lam for months.
Police also say Simmonds knows he's wanted and is not cooperating. But if he's been charged and missing for months, why did the story break just this week? Kristin Annable is the CBC reporter who conducted the investigation. And Kristin joins us now. Kristin, this story, a long time in the making. How did you bring it to light?
So the story started how often these kind do without a lot of information. I had gotten a tip from a source that Rabbi Yacov Simmonds had quietly left the Chabad-Lubavitch, which is sort of a larger sect, local sect of a larger Jewish Orthodox movement. And we didn't really exactly know why, but there were allegations that it was related to sex offenses. So the biggest problem was that I was told there was no criminal charges laid and that a non-disclosure clause was signed, which sort of presents the problem, how do we prove something if there's not really a paper trail? So I started, as you usually do, making phone calls, trying to make inroads into a community that I actually don't have as large of a connection to. So I started making phone calls. I called up Bernie Bellin. He is the publisher of the Jewish Post, and he knows a lot of the Jewish community. And I just sort of posed the question, do you know why Yacov Simmonds left the Chabad-Lubavitch? And he was like, no, I actually don't know, but I'll ask around. So once I sort of had put that idea out there, Bernie called me back about probably 30 minutes later and said, oh wow, there's something going on here. This is something that's been going on for a while, and I cannot believe I didn't know about this. So what he told me was that in 2016, he had heard there were allegations made, and then we found out there was actually criminal charges and a criminal investigation by Winnipeg police, which really gave us that inroad we needed to go to Winnipeg police and say, okay, what happened? And they never released on it. So that was sort of the first question of, okay, how did we not hear about this if charges were laid?
So a challenge there from getting the information from police, but also from the community itself, a community that tends to not seek the spotlight. What was that challenge like?
Well, it was a challenge too, because as I had said earlier, I didn't have those inroads, and it's also a really sensitive topic. It's also something that started in 2016. So this was not news that people were ready to sort of have released. So there's questions of, the possible victims. Are they aware that suddenly now the media is asking questions? Are they suddenly going to get surprised that this news comes out? Is the Chabad-Lubavitch suddenly going to be surprised? So by working with Bernie at the Jewish Post, he was sort of able to give us those inroads we needed to make sure people were aware and sort of get the information out there. And as I said earlier, give us what we needed to go to police and tell them, okay, what's going on?
Great work, but the story doesn't end there, does it, Kristin?
Well, it doesn't, because as you've said, there was a warrant out for his arrest, and police believe, and they've said this, he is actively evading arrest. They have made contact with him, but they don't know exactly where he is. We have heard from sort of various sources that he might be in the Detroit area. He may also be in the New York area. But at the end of the day, what police are saying is this still is a very active investigation.
Kristin Annable, thanks so much.
You're welcome.